Welcome to the bunker.
Preppers, survivalists, off-gridders, homesteaders, and the like, welcome to Top's Bunker, a podcast for preppers. Email shtf@topsbunker.com, website topsbunker.com, YouTube, Top's Bunker podcast channel, and of course, X and Instagram, and all the others. Please check the show notes in your podcast player for a link to help support the show. There you'll find valuable products and gear and extra info on this episode. Also, please visit and join Top's Bunker Facebook group. You'll love the interaction with other preppers and like-minded folks. I want to thank y'all for joining us. We've got a great show for you. Tonight, we're talking about bartering, and not just during SHTF, but now, right now. You need to get familiar with bartering for goods and services. Get comfortable with interactions with other folks. So tonight, we're going to take a little trip to Barter-Town.
The road to Bard Rock Fairgrounds used to have traffic lights, storefronts, and activity. These days, only burned-out cars and wind. Marcus killed the engine a few hundred feet out and let the truck roll the rest of the way downhill to the front gate. No sense announcing themselves to the crowd inside. Dust hung in the air like smoke.
"Check your gear,"
he said. Mara racked the bolt on her rifle, smooth and quiet.
Got it, boss. Good to go.
Eli looked out the back window at the canvas tarp covering the crates in the bed. Among other things, they had eggs packed in sawdust, several gallons of honey, a spare alternator and other assorted parts, handmade lye soap, and Marcus's real leverage, a toolkit wrapped in oilcloth. It seemed he could fix anything. They weren't going to Bard Rock to browse. They were going to trade. Back at their place, 15 people strong, tight perimeter, good water. What they needed was antibiotics, coffee if they could swing it, and 22 long rifle ammunition, necessary for hunting rabbits, squirrels, and other small game. That's called quiet protein. Marcus looked around.
"Head on a swivel. Stay focused. These aren't our people."
The barter camp had once been a county fairground. The gate hung crooked but guarded. Two men with mismatched camouflage and red armbands checked weapons.
"No chambered rounds past this gate."
Calm and respectful. Marcus nodded. They cleared their rifles, locked bolts back, and pocketed the magazines. One of the guards made eye contact with Mara, longer than necessary.
"How you doing?"
She turned away and mumbled.
Yeah, buddy. Fuck around. Find out.
When the gate opened, they pulled their truck inside and found a place to park. The only way to describe the scene inside the market was controlled chaos. Tarps strung between livestock pens, smoke from cook fires, people talking too loud, skinny kids with no supervision. The smell of sweat, body odor, wood smoke, and livestock didn't go unnoticed. A man argued over dried beans. A woman displayed jars of penicillin like crown jewels. Two teenage boys watched everything and nothing at the same time, possibly spotters. Mara leaned in close.
3 o'clock. Gray hoodie, not trading, just scanning the crowd.
Eli took a quick glance.
Clean boots, idle hands. No goods on display. He could be a lone wolf.
"Stay tight,"
Marcus ordered. They set up near an older couple selling potatoes.
Interesting spot. Safety in numbers?
Asked Eli.
"And witnesses, if it comes to that."
Marcus replied. Eli laid out the jars of honey first. Liquid gold in a broken world. A million uses. And it didn't take long for the bees to show up. A wiry mechanic walked up to their table, reeking like gasoline and cigarettes, grease still under his nails.
"Is that alternator for a '98 Ford F-150?
Eli gave the mechanic a confident nod.
I tested it 2 months ago, and it's been wrapped and stored dry. Test it if you like.
The mechanic scratched his beard.
I've got 400 rounds of .22 long rifle. Clean, no corrosion.
600.
I'll give you 5.
Eli paused, calculating the deal in his head. Back home, those rounds meant meat. Meat meant protein and health for his people.
Okay, 5. And you introduce me to the woman trading antibiotics.
The mechanic studied him, then stuck out his hand.
Happy to. You've got yourself a deal.
Mara never stopped scanning the crowd. Gray Hoodie was closer now, watching Eli count ammunition and where he was tucking it away to. A thin woman with sharp eyes approached next. She held an old antique medicine chest.
My friend the mechanic told me that you need antibiotics. I've got amoxicillin, blister packs. They haven't expired yet. Good for another year, maybe 2.
Marcus locked eyes with her.
Reliable storage?
Cool basement, locked inside an airtight container. No bugs, no critters, no damp. My husband was a pharmacist. A damn good one at that.
That trade cost them all of their honey and half the eggs, but worth every drop. By mid-afternoon, tension rose with the temperature. Deals made, tempers short. Someone shouted near the livestock pens. A scuffle. A pistol flashed into view for half a second before hands dragged it down. Gray Hoodie drifted toward their truck. Mara saw him first.
Marcus.
She said lightly. He turned casually, like he'd just remembered something. Gray Hoodie was too close to the bed of the truck and too interested in the tarp. Marcus stepped between him and the tailgate.
Can I help you?
The man smiled without warmth.
Just admiring. Heard you folks did well today.
Marcus held his gaze, calm, unblinking, not aggressive, but not yielding either.
We're done for the day. About to head out. Unless, of course, you've got something to trade.
The man's eyes flicked to Mara. She hadn't moved, but her strong posture was evident. Eli stood squared, not threatening, just ready. Gray Hoodie just gave a half shrug.
It's a long road home. Dangerous, too.
Your concern is heartwarming. Now, move along.
The man drifted away, then out of sight. They didn't linger, no victory lap, no extra browsing. They packed fast, methodical. Ammunition split between all 3. Antibiotics tucked deep. Honey gone. Eggs mostly gone. A good day by any measure. At the gate, they double-checked their tie-downs and rearmed themselves. A guard nodded to Marcus. Out here, respect was earned through conduct, not words. The truck rolled out and back on the road just before dusk. Halfway home, Marcus noticed a truck pacing them half a mile back in the shadows. Eli checked the mirror.
Do we have a problem?
Marcus didn't speed up. To do so showed fear. He took the next fork to the right, a narrow service road winding through some old-growth timber. The truck followed. Mara leaned out the window, scanning the ridgeline. After a quarter mile, Marcus braked hard and cut into an overgrown logging spur barely visible from the road. He killed the engine. In silence, they waited. 30 seconds later, a black pickup truck rolled past them without slowing. The 2 men in the cab hadn't noticed them. Marcus exhaled slowly.
Mara, any sign of them?
Up on the roof of the cab, Mara laid prone with her rifle scanning the road for that truck. She was, of course, their best shooter.
Not a damn thing, boss. Looks quiet out there.
Then we move. Got a lot of ground to cover. It's getting late.
The road is no place to be at night. Many have met their end on nights like this. They rolled out, fading into the darkness. They reached home well after midnight. Familiar silhouettes, safe perimeter, low lantern light. The gate slowly opened. Marcus drove in and headed straight to the commons. He was slow to climb out of the truck, muttering.
Long day. Good to be home.
Eli unloaded the ammo like it was treasure. Mara handed off the antibiotics to Hannah, their medic. Narcus gathered the group briefly.
We made contact with a mechanic at Bard Rock. Reliable. Knows engines. We'll trade again in a month.
He didn't mention Gray Hoodie. They all knew men like that were out there. No need to alarm anyone. It was late. He'll give a more detailed report in the morning. Mara sat high on the steps leading up to the observation deck. Her favorite spot. Bottle of Tennessee whiskey. 2 glasses. Marcus always knew where to find her. They had that in common. She handed him a glass and asked,
Hey, boss. Was it what you expected?
Marcus looked across the tree line and the cabins, the row crops. It looked peaceful and hopeful.
Yeah, we're stronger now, and they know it. Reputation is the new currency. I think we'll be just fine. And stop calling me boss.
They sat close and sipped their drinks.
Sure, boss.
Downstairs inside, there was faint laughter and quiet conversation. Someone was already brewing a fresh pot of coffee. There was a sense of excitement for the barter camp and what it could mean for them. Tonight, morale was back, and so was their confidence. They can provide for themselves and to others. They now have value, and they're about to learn that their little world is about to get a whole lot bigger. As for Marcus and Mara, well, they're still figuring things out, one sip at a time.
Trials and tribulations of being a gardener, man.
It sucks, man.
Yeah, it does.
Because I pressed down on a squash from the day prior, and when I pressed on it, literally thousands of these bugs started pouring out of it. Yeah, it was like a scene from Aliens. I was that pissed off. I was like, "Oh, I'm going to get the blowtorch. This this whole area is getting freaking firebombed." So yeah.
Well, the listening audience has been patiently waiting.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about tonight's topic, which probably shouldn't take very long. So it's good to this route.
Yeah.
Top 20 barter items for SHTF. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think you're doing 10-ish and I'm doing 10-ish.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a list. I'm sure we're going to cross items. So
most likely.
Yeah.
Most likely. Well, I know that like a lot of people, some of the stuff is like an automatic, people think like, oh, I can keep, this on hand and this on hand and it's going to be great. And people really, I will partially disagree with some of these people. Like they'll think I'm going to keep gold and silver on hand and that's going to be the only currency. I don't think so. I think that stuff like 22 ammunition is going to be much better currency.
Yeah, I don't understand why everybody goes so crazy about gold and silver. I wonder if it's the hype and the promotion and the marketing that those companies that sell that stuff or trading that stuff are actually putting out there. Because I mean, what am I going to do? What's anybody going to do with gold and silver in a long-term SHTF situation, a nation rebuilding kind of a situation where you've got 2 or 3 years of rebuilding? Who's going to use gold or silver?
I think for a lot of people, and I do understand. I understand it. Gold and silver is intrinsic in value. It it only grows. Silver has gone like absolutely crazy recently. But the thing is that you can gauge a nation's wealth and you can gauge a nation's currency based off of how much gold they have on hand. When they took us off of the gold standard, they fucked up big time. But when I think what the way people think is that at the end of the whole collapse and the rebuild and all that stuff, they're like, if I've got this gold and silver on hand and I can hold on to it when it's time to rebuild, I'm going to be super wealthy. I mean, that's fine. I guess that's great and all, but you can't eat gold and you can't drink silver. So that I think for me personally, having actual assets on hand and long-term assets is more valuable for me personally. I mean,
no, I get exactly what you're saying. And it is a rebuild kind of a situation, because if you're in the dead heat of an SHTF situation, anybody coming up to me with gold or silver is not going to be able to buy my ammo because I don't want the gold and silver.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now you bring me, seedlings, you bring me something that's worthy, medicine. Yeah, I've got thousands of rounds of 22. How much you want?
Yeah.
And everybody's going to want 9mm, 22, 223. They're going to want all those.
Your most common rounds.
Ammo. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So I would say probably my very first one, and this is how I think, maybe a little twisted, but I know that when the initial stages and for a time afterwards, the biggest things that I would want to have on hand to trade is I'm going to play on people's their addictions. And I know it sounds like a shitty thing to say, but my very, very first one is going to be alcohol. And it doesn't have to be expensive alcohol. It doesn't have to be the absolute best. It could be cheap, cheap shit. But in the stress of the times, people are going to be like, damn, I could use a drink. And you have like bottom shelf whiskey. Oh, they're going to take that whiskey. They are definitely going to trade something for that whiskey. And then directly after that is going to be nicotine. And it's definitely going to be cigarettes. And it could be it could be the worst brand, the cheapest, most disgusting brand of cigarettes on hand. But if you know somebody's a smoker and you have cigarettes, even if you don't smoke, you are going to be the wealthiest person in your area. You are going to be basically the equivalent of a millionaire.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it.
Because, I mean, you got somebody who's jonesing hardcore, right? They've run out of their cigarettes or dip or whatever it is that their thing is. Like, let's say you ran out of vape juice. How long before you punch a hole through the wall? You know what I mean? So, if you know somebody's a smoker and you know they've probably got some good stuff and you were like, you know what? I've got a pack of these GPCs menthols. What are you willing to give me for it? Oh man, you could have so much stuff. I think cigarettes is probably more valuable than liquor or alcohol in general, but those are my top two, like right off the bat. Those are the two items that I definitely want to have on hand to trade.
So side note on that, how would you keep, is there a way to keep cigarettes from not going stale? Because it is a product that will go stale and go bad. Alcohol, no, it won't. I wonder if you can vacuum seal them or something. I wonder if there's something you could do.
Yeah, you can. You can actually break down the pack, vacuum seal them, and then they're going to be just in that stasis. But it's eventually even those will dry up. But honestly, if somebody said, if you're a smoker and you haven't had one in like, let's say 30 days, and you have already just resigned yourself to be like, okay, well, the whole universe sucks and I'm just going to die of this. And said, yeah, exactly. And somebody's like, hey man, I got a pack of smokes. What do you got? You're going to do whatever you need to do to get that pack of smokes. You'll go quite a long time before they go that stale. You know what I mean? Like, and then even like World War II, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Enemy at the Gates. It's based off of a real event, a real book. But the Russians, what they would do is they actually had strips of newspaper and they were putting their tobacco in strips of, and just basically doing a roll of your own out of newspaper. So people are going to find a way to smoke no matter what. They're going to be like, I got this toilet paper. I'm smoking it. They're going to do what they need to do to get their fix. So.
I know. And there's people that say, well, then wouldn't it be a great idea to grow tobacco? I'll try it. And how much tobacco field, how many acres do you need in order to make actual cigarettes?
A lot. And I don't know if anybody who does say that has never been in a tobacco field. They've never picked tobacco. Picking tobacco sucks. Your hands will get shredded all to crap. Your hands will get so torn up. I mean, there are some areas around here, like one of the guys I work with on contract, when he was a kid, he used to get sent into the tobacco fields as punishment. Like that was an actual punishment for him. Cause
that's right. Cause you're in the South Carolina, North Carolina. Yeah. You're in the Carolinas. Yeah. They did a lot of, in fact, isn't one of the big manufacturers still there?
Yeah. Yeah. Winston-Salem is actually here.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy.
Your Winston cigarettes and, Marlboro's up here too. But North Carolina is like the tobacco, like capital. Most of the cigarette industry and tobacco industry, tobacco actually comes from North Carolina. So I think it's the state's number one cash crop. So, but yeah, it's if you've never messed with tobacco, picking it sucks. It like super duper sucks. It's not awesome. Not awesome. So a couple of other items, but that's like my top two: cigarettes or tobacco products in general, and alcohol of some kind.
I still have 3 bottles. One is gin, one is vodka, and the other one is gin, vodka, and tequila. Ugh. All of them are absolute bottom, I mean, below the bottom shelf, like underneath the bottom shelf is how bad these things are. We're talking like $6 up for the bottle. Like, we're really cheap stuff.
Ugh.
And I still got them. And I bought
Mm.
these things years ago when I started prepping, and I still have those 3 bottles.
Dude, gin, even thinking about gin, it just like, you get that tug in your throat right before you puke. To me, gin tastes like, I don't know. They tell you seed oils are bad. That's what I think of gin. It's like just, it tastes like oil to me. And tequila, I'm not allowed to have tequila. Because, a lot of people are like, oh man, I'm a party animal. All my clothes fall off. I turn into a violent hose beast if I drink tequila. That's why I don't mess with it.
And grain alcohols are, good for getting drunk and good for, feeling good or taking the edge off now and again and bartering with, but they're also good for medicinal purposes.
Yeah.
You can make tinctures out of them all and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Actually, gin is one of those top things they use for tinctures.
Well, you can use gin, but vodka is actually one of the biggest ones, because you can take vodka and you can actually put in a little bit of glycerin, and then you end up with hand sanitizer. That's one of the easy. Yeah. You can do the same thing with rubbing alcohol. You're 90 to 95% rubbing alcohol. But if you don't have rubbing alcohol, you can use vodka, and you can just put a little bit of glycerin in there and it turns into hand sanitizer. Jellies up, and that's what it is.
Interesting.
So my next one is going to be toilet paper or baby wipes and like butt wiping material in general.
Now those will last. Those are in the packages sealed, and they got they don't dry out as long as they're sealed.
Yeah, that's going to be my next one. Because everybody's got to wipe their butt, and when it's gone, you're looking for stuff to wipe your butt with, because we're going to continue to poop.
I should hope so. Yeah.
Yeah. Next one after that is going to be soaps and just general personal hygiene products in general. And then not included with that, but still in the personal hygiene sort of genre, is going to be feminine hygiene products. Because even though, and I've talked with Missy about this before, because all of our girls were athletic. Missy's was very athletic, and it actually does affect a woman's cycle. So the stress and the athleticism required to deal with emergency situations to begin with, once that kind of starts to wane off a little bit, women are going to go back into their somewhat regular cycle. And they got to have stuff to take care of it. That stuff is going to be super important. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I don't even know why I would have to say it, but do not use feminine hygiene products for packing a wound. It's the stupidest thing you could possibly do. I know it sounds like a great idea, but if you've never had a tampon shoved into a bullet hole in your body, you may as well tell me I'm going to pour literal liquid hot magma into your wound. That's what it feels like. It's horrible. It is absolutely horrible.
But isn't it better than nothing?
If it's going to save my life, yes. The problem is that once that thing goes in there and expands, volume is volume. It's going to start pressing up against the wound wall, and it's going to suck super bad. And they're full of chemicals. Those chemicals are going to get into whomever's bloodstream in a place that it was never meant to go into your bloodstream. It's not awesome. I'll just tell you that. It's not great at all. But yeah, so right after that is going to be what I call sundry items. So real quick, duct tape and cordage. Those are always going to be important. Batteries, super duper important. And then, I was going to go with your typical like food and water, because anybody who's hungry enough is going to want food. Anybody who's thirsty enough is going to be desperate for water. But those are things that we should always have on hand. But because you definitely need those things more for your family than anybody else, I would tell you food and water is actually not on my highest things that I want to trade off. Right. If you bought an excessive amount of, let's say, canned goods, okay, cool. If I intentionally made a stash of canned goods just for barter, that's only what that's for. But I don't want to count that into my potential reserves of food for my family. So it's kind of
Good
how I
point.
went with that.
Yep. Good
Yeah.
point.
And then first aid supplies, medicines, stuff like that. You know, people, I don't think a lot of people understand, because we're getting ready to go into our CME, uh, EMP episode, and kind of like, with 1 second after, the estimation is that if we did have an actual event and we lost our grid within that first year, I think they said like close to 90% of us will die off because of the lack of electricity and a general overall lack of being able to survive without it. But you got to think like diabetics, not having cooled insulin that first, like, let's just say the first 30 days, man, that's like, I don't even know how that would go for them. I just don't, you know? Um, it's kind of sad to think about it, but I can't keep, insulin at the house. I have no need for it right now. I'm not diabetic and neither is Missy. So why would I have it here? But I can have a stash of Tylenol. I can have a stash of, Aleve, bandages, Coban, which is your stretch, kind of cling wrap and stuff like that. I can have all that stuff on hand and then I can have excess to trade. It is kind of difficult to get antibiotics, especially broad spectrum antibiotics, just because you want them. But you can actually go to companies like Chase Case and you can get a stash of all of your most, like your top antibiotics and stuff like that, like ivermectin, and those kinds of things
Without a prescription.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I want to have to look into that. I think you still have to have a prescription, but I do believe that Chase has their own MDs on hand that are legally authorized to write a script. But I think the consult does have to come from your PCM. I'd have to dig into it, a little bit more.
Now, also with antibiotics and especially broad spectrum, and I don't know about the other one you were just talking about for diabetes.
Oh, you're talking about just insulin?
Yeah, insulin. But don't those go bad over time? Aren't they not useful at some point?
So all medication, anything that has to do with antibiotics, probiotics and prebiotics, they all do, have a shelf life. A lot of it has to do with how well you store it. But say for instance, doxycycline and amoxicillin, those are your two, probably your two most widely used broad spectrum antibiotics. If you store them properly, you can keep them on hand for a couple of years. And
that's good. Yeah.
Yeah. Even, and then like, for instance, some of them say, well, even though that, say for instance, I don't know, pick one, Tylenol, even though that Tylenol says that it expired, last year in May, some people are like, dude, that's good for like 2-3 years after the expiration. Matter of fact, my MD, my foot person, was changing my bandages after the surgery last week. And she's like, because I told her, I was like, this medication that you gave me, one, did not put me to sleep. It actually kept me up. But two, it's not doing shit for me. And she actually was like, well, just get some Tylenol PM. I said, oh, cool. I've got some, but it expired last May. And she's like, that's because they want you to buy more. It's still good. It really is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And this is a VA doctor telling me that. And I was like, all right, well, thank you for confirming. I already knew that, but, I wanted to hear an MD actually tell me that. So,
right.
Yeah. And then my last, I think, what have I got? 4? I'm going to go with manual hand tools. Manual hand tools like screwdrivers, but even more so, you have to look for them, but a hand crank drill is like, they almost look like egg beaters, but a hand crank drill and stuff like that. Hammer. construction nails, that kind of stuff. That's going to be really, really huge because people are going to, let's say you got to leave your home and you're out there just flapping in the breeze, having a hammer and nails and like maybe a saw to build a shelter with. I mean, you're living in the space age, essentially. And then you've got your fuel. So fuel is going to be gasoline, propane, and that kind of stuff. And then last but not least, I'm going to go with shelter. Clothing and shelter kind of go together for me anyways. But shelter and clothing, really good gloves, or even cheap gloves, good boots. If you've got excess boots, let's say you go to Walmart and you bought like varying sizes of their cheap, $10, $12 rubber boots and just stashed them and be like, you know what? This might come in handy one day.
I have my last 3 or 4 years worth of old boots. Every time I get a new set of boots, I put the old ones on the shelf, and that's a barter item.
Yeah.
Hell, that's an item for me. If I totally destroy out one, I can always go back to those for a few weeks until I buy another one.
Those are cutting grass shoes. That's what I always call
exactly.
them. Yeah. So that's my barter list, man. I mean, I'm sure there's like probably a whole rabbit hole I could go down. But again, top two, and I know it sounds ugly, but if you're going to get what you want, you're going to play on people's vices and people who need a drink and need a smoke, man. If you want to be the quote unquote prepared billionaire, that's how you go is you go with people's vices. Yeah.
Yeah. I would definitely say that I would definitely say that alcohol, cigarettes, sugar, coffee, tea, man. These are all the things that people are going to be like jonesing for. I jones for them when I'm out for a day or two. I'm like, okay, where's the Dollar General? I can get some right now.
Yeah.
And you were talking about Cafe Bustelo. Oh, that's our favorite. We always have that in hand.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been drinking Cafe Bustelo since I was a kid.
Nice and strong. I didn't start till probably about maybe a decade ago. But once I found it, I'm like, this cheap stuff is better than the expensive stuff. It's incredible.
Yeah. Well, so you find Cafe Bustelo in the bricks, right? The compressed bricks.
Oh yeah.
They actually have regular drip Cafe Bustelo now, and it's not cheap. It's definitely right? Oh yeah. Yeah, it comes in your regular size container.
Like ground up and everything?
Yeah, it's regular coffee grounds. Yeah, but it's not cheap. Definitely
because
not.
Cafe Bustelo boasts itself as being an espresso blend, which is nice and rich and deep. Nice.
It very much is an espresso blend because I've actually run that, just your regular brick, compressed brick stuff. I run that through my espresso machine. So,
right.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, and I think it's a great list. I agree with it 100%. And I also agree with the fact that people are going to be different where they live, how they live, who they are. If you're in an urban situation, if you're in a rural situation, or if you've got kids, if you got no kids, if you got dogs, animals, all that kind of stuff, right? All those types of things are going to change your bartering items. And really what you want to do, I think one of the most important things you should do when you're deciding what you should spend your little bits of money, not your big money, your little bits of money for barter items is one, either try and make your stuff yourself. Okay. Or if you're going to buy it, don't think about what what you want. Think about what you can sell other people. Like you said, alcohol, cigarettes, these are vices. I don't really drink alcohol. Not very much at all. I do vape, but I don't smoke. I would not need alcohol or cigarettes as long as I had my vapes going. And I'm pretty sure at this point in time where I've set myself up for vaping with the lowest amount of nicotine in it, that I could probably quit and be a little irritated for a week or so.
Yeah.
But if you were me 15, 20 years ago, heavy two pack a day cigarette smoker, that was me. Bad. Somebody was going to die if I didn't have my cigarettes. I'm just saying. You would have I would have given you my truck in a barter situation if you had cigarettes.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to tell you, I went 4 days after the surgery. I think it was 4, maybe. It was like 4 days.
Without smoking?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. I did good. I had my pouches. I've got more pouches on order. I think I have the pouches that I prefer. Like I tried the Zins, heartburn every time, man. I tried a couple other brands, but I found a brand that I like. They last a really long time. And I've kind of settled that that's going to be, if I'm gonna quit, I'm just gonna basically replace one addiction for another at this point, because I'm willing to accept one if I can get away from the other.
Yeah, no,
if that makes sense.
And that's exactly what I do with vaping. So
Yeah.
it was, and when I went to vaping from cigarettes, it was that day. I was on my way to get a pack of cigarettes, and I actually started vaping that day. Went to a vape shop, said, "Hey, I want to quit smoking. Can you help me out?" They said, "Have a seat." But I was also on the heaviest nicotine that you can get.
Yeah.
In vaping. So the only thing I was trading was the tar.
Yes.
That you don't get the tar when you're vaping, but that nicotine, it will kill you really quick. I mean, that nicotine is the bad stuff, especially the stuff you get in vaping, because it's a more pure nicotine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Instead of coming from a plant, it comes from chemicals. It's the actual chemical that you get.
Right. So from what I understand, like I'm using the Alp pouches right now. It's the brand that Tucker Carlson promotes. It's his company.
He says he carries it on his, like he's got like a holster for it or something.
Yeah. Yeah. They actually have some good stuff, but I went to, and they have a couple of dealers.
Is it like dipping?
For some, I would imagine it is. It's a pouch.
Okay. Right.
And it's not tobacco. It's it's like powder inside.
Okay.
It's kind of hard to describe, but it looks like a white powdery pouch. And I used to dip also, many years ago. And for some reason, giving up dipping for me was super easy. I just stopped. But I'll throw in a pouch. I started with the 3s. And it felt like it didn't last long enough. Like I would spit out, the 1, and then within a little bit of time, I'm like, damn, I really want a cigarette. So I would toss in another, and I was like, I need to up my dosage a touch and make it last longer. So I went up to the 6 milligrams, and that's like, for me personally, that's a sweet spot for me. So, and with these particular pouches, the Alps, it does not give me heartburn. It's not like, I don't know what it is about Zins. But for some reason, it just automatically gives me heartburn. I don't know why, because you don't have to spit, but that particular brand, it gives me bad heartburn.
Now, what you can do is you can get yourself a still. By getting a still, you can make your own grain alcohol flavored and all different types of things. That would be a great bartering item. You will need sugar, corn mash, whatever it is that you're making, whatever alcohol you're making, you're going to need those items.
Yep.
But you can get those things in big bags, and you can Mylar pack them and seal them, which is perfectly fine.
Yep.
I don't think you'll have a problem finding that type of stuff anyway.
Well, in the old days, of course, it's you got to have yeast. You got to have yeast to make corn liquor.
Yep.
But corn liquor was made with water, your yeast, and you could use a fruit if you could not get sugar.
That's right.
So your sugars are kind of, it's kind of variable. If you can get your hands on fruit, you've got your base sugars.
Yep.
But sugar and salt, if stored properly, last literally forever. So, yeah. They're a forever product,
and you'll be able to find yeast in a situation like that. But that's something that I'm interested in. I've already got a few picked out stills, and they've got some very inexpensive ones these days. You can get Vivor, whatever. It's got a few that I like. I'm not talking about the big fancy, beautiful copper ones that you get for $2,000-$3,000. I'm talking about the ones that are $100, $150. Hell, they got them for $80. Little tiny ones. You put it right on top of your counter, and it's in most places it's illegal. People think it's not, but it is. Now, if you're making a massive quantity and selling it, you're going to jail.
Yeah.
That's as simple as that.
And if you're
going to come after you,
if you're a coastal person, you can actually use a still to desalinate.
That's right. I was just about to say the same thing. Desalinate salt water. That's right. I've seen people do it online. I didn't do it, but I've seen people do it online.
Yep.
It's amazing. Now you gotta still distill it a few times. to get that salty flavor out of it.
Yeah.
But you can absolutely do it if you want to.
Yep. Yeah. It takes some work, but if you can learn how to do it, I mean, we're not going to run out of ocean, you know?
That's true. It's true. But the aliens are living in the ocean, from what I understand these days.
Fucking
so they might taint the water.
The dinosaurs, they're out there.
Something. So what I did was I went from a rural part on my list, and I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. I'm going to run through some of the stuff.
Yeah.
But like for myself, we have lots of chickens, therefore we have lots and lots of eggs. Our next door neighbor, last year we brought eggs over to him. We brought 80 eggs. We had so many eggs. We were overflowing. The refrigerator couldn't hold any more eggs. Hey, quiet.
Yeah, that was your dogs. I was like, who's barking down there?
Yeah. So we had a lot of eggs, man, and fresh eggs. That is that's a great commodity. You can definitely barter with that, especially if you're going to like a Barter-Town, like a place where there's a village, a place where there's an actual market where people are going to be bartering at.
Yeah.
That's a great product.
Yeah.
Garden products is another one. Fruits, vegetables, anything that you can grow, which obviously you and I both do, and Buddy, lots of other people do as well. Now I don't do this one here, which is milk, cheese, yogurt, pasteurized type of dairy stuff. I don't know how to do. I don't have the animals that produce it, and I don't know how to make it anyway. It's something that I would like to get into. I'm just not there yet. It's going to take some time.
Yeah,
that's something you can do. Meat. Now, you got your beef, pork, poultry, which I have, wild game like guinea, turkey, that sort of stuff I have. But like you said, you can also hunt for it. You can hunt for turkey, and you can hunt for venison, for deer.
Yep.
That is a bartering, especially if you know how to jerky it, which I don't, but one day I will.
Yeah.
That's a great barter item.
That's another reason why you need to have salt on hand.
Yeah. You need salt for that?
Well, if you want to preserve your meat, the best way, honestly, is to salt it and to hang it in your smokehouse. Yeah. It really is.
And obviously, we're going to have to say honey. That's something that I do. Honey is a very valued product, and you can be used for many different things. It's very healthy for you, and it's also will last forever. It does not go bad. Yes.
Yeah.
Here's one that I just started thinking about because I'm actually making it part of my business plan this year. But seeds and seedlings. If you're going to be growing stuff, you should also be trying to collect the seeds, especially if you got your heirloom type stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. And what I'm trying to do this year is seedlings. I've got a whole entire tray out there that I'm growing plants that I don't need because I'm gonna try and see if I can get seedlings to get up to 18 inches, 12 inches, 18 inches, and sell them at the market this year. There was somebody that there last year doing it, and those plants were awesome. I bought a few of them.
Yep.
And they turned out to be really good. So I want to see if I can get into that.
Yeah. Yeah. And we, I mean, just for instance, a small example, all of the flowering plants that we put out this year to keep bugs away, Missy, as she would go along and she'd notice they were starting to brown, she automatically went out there and started collecting the heads. The seed is in the head. And the
like
seeds,
your marigolds and things like that. Okay, yeah,
mostly marigolds, but so all of the marigolds that we grew last year were from seeds that she collected from the year prior. So now we're actually going to go into a new growing cycle of collecting seeds from these particular plants. So now, 2 generations. Now we have heirloom plants. We have heirloom marigolds now. Because we've actually regenerated the same seed from those plants for 2 years. Now we can have 2 consecutive years of actual marigolds. Now we have our own heirloom plants that we made. So,
right. And those marigolds have a really cool looking seed, by the way. I just planted a bunch of them. We did save a few of our seeds, and I planted them in some small little 4-inch pots.
Yep.
About a week and a half ago, and I'm already starting to see some of them pop up. So I know they're viable. They're working.
Yeah.
Let's see. So we're moving on to if you are a baker, okay, fresh bread, pies, cookies, those type of things. It's a great barter item. Especially if you know what you're doing. You got a little flour, you got some sugar, all these things that you can store, Mylar bags, 5-gallon buckets, which that's how we do it. We buy big giant stuffs and we put them in 5-gallon buckets, like our rice, our
Mm-hmm.
flour, and we use it. This is not just stuff we're saving. We actually use all of it.
Yeah.
So that's a great thing you can do. Think farmer's market, things like that. Those aren't items that people are buying at Walmart and reselling at the farmer's market. They're making them with their own hands and they're selling them.
Yeah.
Preserves like jams, jellies. I wouldn't put in my list. I would say pickling is probably a good deal.
Yeah.
But the problem with pickling is it takes so much. You have to have a lot of jars, man.
Yeah.
I mean, when you start getting into the pickling game, next thing you know, your shelves are full and
Yes.
you're buying more jars. There's you need so much stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you do. And I mean, honestly, and pickling is great. Stuff lasts for a super long time, but you can only eat so much pickled stuff before you're like, fuck this vinegar.
That's true. It comes in waves. It comes in waves.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll dive into a jar and I'm like throwing it down till halfway and then I'm okay for a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm good for a while.
I have eaten our pickled okra to the point where I'm like, oh, this was a bad mistake. Like I can feel my pulse through my eyes.
So that goes along with sauces, especially hot sauces, which I've been doing a lot of lately.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been doing a lot of hot sauces, and they're good for the ones I'm doing now are getting water bath, and they're good for 18 months. You know, I would say once you open them, they're not shelf stable. Once you open them, you got to put them in the refrigerator. But still, that's a barter item.
Yeah,
it's something people might want to have. Now, I started looking into. I did a little research on it, and this is something that I didn't think of. But some people say that in the rural areas where there's farmers and there's ranchers and there's homesteaders, manure and compost is in there. That's something that they would barter with. I would never have thought of that because I would need my own compost and manure for myself. But apparently, it's something that people do. They bring a truckload of compost over and they'll barter. They'll trade for something that other farmer has.
I mean, I could see it. Like
composting takes time.
Yeah.
And not only that, but if I had a whole bunch of cows, they're basically making the manure. So it's not like you're buying it.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I could see it, but like if you had your own chickens with the amount of nitrites that they produce within their fecal matter, I mean, you've got, I don't know. That would be interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I could see trading it for like, if you said, hey, I want to have what you have. I want to trade this for cows or a cow. Can I get one of your cows and then this winter I'll come over and let the bull do its thing. So that way this spring I can have calves and I can kind of continue, that I could see that maybe. I don't know. That's an interesting one.
So from there, I went on to something that's more personal to me, and that's goods and services, which is I've been in the service and construction sort of industry, maintenance industry for a long time. I can fix anything. I'm certified to fix pretty much anything. I've got I was a licensed electrician. I've got certifications for plumbing, for HVAC, electrical, of course, pools and cisterns. I've got that under my belt. Inspections, all these things. Well, construction. My dad was a carpenter and taught me a lot about construction and building stuff. So all of these things are essential services that I could actually barter with. And that's something you should think about. If you're a hairstylist, you have a barter service. If you know how to sharpen chainsaw blades or sawmill blades, you got something you can barter with. If you can fix small engines.
Yeah.
That's, you know what? There's a lot of people out there who don't know how to, and they've got a small engine that needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
That's something you can barter with.
There's a lot of people out there who don't know how to sharpen a knife correctly.
That's true. That's true. Knife sharpening is definitely one of them. I have that on my list.
Yeah.
So things like that, building sheds, fences, repairs. Like I said before, AC and heating things. If you're an HVAC person, that's a pretty good one. Because remember, HVAC is not just for comfort; it's also for refrigeration. For your keeping your not penicillin, but your medicines, going. You're gonna need refrigeration.
Yep.
Splitting firewood is another one. It's a hard thing to do. A lot of people don't like to do. A lot of people can't do it physically. Once, if you don't have the machinery, you're doing it with an axe, and you're capable of doing it. You now have a bartering service. Simple as that.
Physical labor, I think, is
physical labor. Yeah,
is going to be definitely a thing, especially like, you know, we all kind of fantasize or maybe imagine how, you know, this world is going to be. But, you know, given where we're at in the world now, I think after a time, stuff is going to start to improve, unless it's nuclear, you know. But I think things would start to improve. And that's really where your skilled laborers are going to shine.
For sure. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, especially during harvest season, you're gonna need manual labor. You're gonna need skilled laborers. I wouldn't be able to do it. I wouldn't be able to go out there and hand pick something. I'm too old, fat, and out of shape. I wouldn't be able to do it. But I would hire people to do it. I would barter with people that could do it.
Yeah.
Especially if I need a couple acres of land cleared.
Yeah.
I can't. That's too much work for me. But if I can get some young fellows and young people out there to do it and barter with something that they need.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Another thing I can't do: clothing and making clothes, blankets, clothing repairs, sewing. I'm not very good at that kind of stuff. I would definitely barter for that. If I needed something fixed, I could barter for that type of thing. So when you're out there thinking about, and that was my 20 items, but when you're out there thinking about bartering, don't just think about items, the staples. There's lots of things that you can do that people are going to need, especially like small electronics. Like, let's say all these battery banks and things that we have that we're running. These things can malfunction. If you're able to fix something like that, or radios, and you're in the game. You're in the game.
Yeah. I mean, you think about that one movie, The Book of Eli, when he wanders into that town and he's got an old school iPod, but he doesn't have a way to charge it.
That's right. There was a guy there he bartered with. That's right.
Yeah. He bartered to get a charge.
It was like some hand sanitizer, I think he had.
Yeah. He had some wet wipes, or not wet wipes, but the little cleansing napkins from like a KFC or something.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, that's one of the movies that I always go back to. And you talk about goods and services. If you're a person, and this one is a particular, it's a two-edged sword, but if you have medical training and you have the ability to treat some traumas and small things, sicknesses, you're going to be another millionaire. However, let's say you try and you fail. You may end up having to defend yourself for somebody because I mean,
you better have that way out and a fast vehicle.
Yeah. I mean, because I have a lot of training. I can treat trauma stuff. I can do a lot of different things. I can't guarantee I'll save a life. And I think that if anybody who did have any kind of medical training and the supplies to back it up would have to be very reserved on what they're willing to reveal about themselves, you know, if your services were needed. So
yeah. And maybe a dog walker or someone to quiet dogs who are barking. That might be a good service you can have too.
Yeah, I have.
You need something right now, man.
I have one of those. She lives in my house, and the dogs treat her and I very differently. Because I guarantee you, if I walked downstairs right now and I put on a particular face, Ammo or Apollo, who's the one who's down there barking right now, he would go running because, you know, he's scared of me. But man, those dogs, as soon as I am not in the picture and Missy is with them alone, they act like frickin' retards. They go absolutely stupid.
They're kind of funny animals because in reality, which name of your dog?
Ammo, Apollo, and Athena.
Apollo. So Apollo could shred you within seconds. If Apollo knew that he could and had some confidence, he could shred you in seconds. He could shred all of us in seconds.
Yeah. Even though
they don't.
He's about 1.5 years. He is just under Ammo's size. And the thing about Ammo is Ammo is legitimately a gigantic freaking muscle machine. The thing is that he's such a lover boy. He's so chill. that people see him and they're terrified of him, but they don't understand that he's just a big freaking weenie. He's just a, I told him the other day, I'm like, cause I have conversations with the dogs. I'm like, dude, if you don't start defending yourself, I'm going to have to stop defending you. And then he just cocks his head to the side like, yeah, man, I don't know what you're saying. You know, it's, oh man.
Final words on bartering.
Bartering. I would tell you, when you go to shop for yourself and you're shopping for your own prepper supplies, or when you're learning skills for yourself, double up on it. If you buy 5 cans for yourself of pasta, buy 1 for your barter kit. And always just kind of think in the back of your mind, I can use these things even if they're expired, if people are desperate enough to trade.
My prepper brothers and sisters, in a grid-down world, bartering exposes you. It exposes whether you've built anything of value, whether you've invested in people, whether your name carries weight or warning. You can't fake competence when someone's trading antibiotics for your labor. You can't fake trust when security is on the line. And you can't fake community after the crisis starts. Preparedness without relationships is a fragile way to survive. Supplies without allies to barter with are temporary. Mutual assistance groups aren't social clubs, though they can be social. They're an extension of power and security. One way they do this is by elevating and enhancing your value at the barter table. I know a guy who knows a guy, so to speak. So, build your skills now. Strengthen your value now. Trade favors and services now. Because during a long-term grid-down SHTF landscape, the strongest currency left standing will be trust, backed by talent and capability. Stay prepped, stay happy. Thanks for listening, and good night.